Hey, welcome to Vinewood Public Access. If you're wondering what the hell this is, here's the deal. Vinewood Public Access is a fan-made radio station set in the universe of Grand Theft Auto. It's fully scripted, professionally voiced, and designed to feel as though it fits right into the game. We post shorter clips and reels all over the place, but the full radio station is available on YouTube and is set to the in-game clock of 48 minutes. The program of Vinewood Public Access is a chaotic mess. Ads, segments, call-ins, different shows with different hosts, all held up by Tommy Singles, the primary host and leader of this ragtag group. The station is actually based around the in-game day of 48 minutes, so you can actually sync up Vinewood Public Access with your gameplay and listen to it while you play the game, and the segments will align with the times of day. So that's Vinewood Public Access. If you like Grand Theft Auto and the deep comedic lore that exists in all of Rockstar's games, you're probably gonna like this. If you wanna know more about the history of this project, why it exists, and how it came to be, keep watching this video or click the link for the other one, depending on which video you're watching right now.
You're tuned in to Vinewood Public Access. Vinewood Public Access, your home for the wild, weird, and wonderfully dysfunctional.
So why is Vinewood Public Access a thing, and why is it coming out in 2025, 12 years after the release of GTA 5 and before the release of GTA 6? These are great questions. Let me answer them. So who am I? My name is Rob Morris. I am an American screenwriter, and I've been a fan of the Grand Theft Auto series since GTA 3. I picked up off a Blockbuster shelf in, 2001 or something like that, when I was in middle school. So I've played every single GTA game except for Chinatown Wars because I never had a DS, but working on that. I've played through every one. I've beaten most games multiple times, and I've put the most hours into GTA 5 and GTA Online. For me, the Grand Theft Auto series is a core part of my sense of humor and what I've brought into my work as a professional comedian, commercial and screenwriter in the Writers Guild of America. For me, the path towards writing comedy and making things that entertain people is largely based in the original worlds created by the Housers and Leslie Benzies and the whole Rockstar team. From literal fire alarm just went off in my building. Anyway, Vinewood Public Access. So I've always been a fan of the Grand Theft Auto series from end to end, especially all the little detail that they put into every single part of it. For me, the best part of all the games is two things. It's all of the brands and fictional businesses and products and all of that lore that you go by unnoticed. You just don't necessarily pay attention to it unless there's like an ad on the radio or you're really, paused on a screen or something for a while. You don't see the name of every one of the little businesses or every one of the little products or the notes that are on the telephone poles and things like that. This is my favorite stuff, is the details. And I think this is best showcased on the radio stations. The talk radio stations in particular have always been my favorite. Obviously, the music stations are banging as well. They're so good all the way back. But for me, the granddaddy of them all, my favorite, a little bit of it is nostalgia, but also is just format, is Chatterbox FM from GTA 3. This was in Liberty City, the first 3D game, and it was hosted by Laszlo in a very different version of Laszlo than we see now, especially in GTA 5. Laszlo evolves. The character of Laszlo evolves over all of the games into a very different kind of person, but in the first one, there was this dry East Coast cynicism where Laszlo was not the butt of the joke that often. It was more a lean back and letting the weirdos of Liberty City wash over him. One of my favorite segments on the original Chatterbox is he says, "Is there anyone normal?" This is an SOS going out across the city. I'm calling for anyone normal to call into this show because everybody's so insane. That really is the impetus and the original inspiration for what Vinewood Public Access is all about. Vinewood Public Access is a show about a guy named Tommy Singles who moves from the state of Leonida, which hopefully we will see more about soon. And he moves to Los Santos with the plan of being one of the radio DJs. He interviews for Radio Mirror Park. That's where he wants to work. Part of that story is from the fact that Radio Mirror Park is hands down my favorite radio station in the game. And DJ George is a great character. As an ironic kind of twist on that, I have written Tommy Singles to have lost the job of hosting Radio Mirror Park to DJ George years ago, and as a result, fucking hates him, which it's very fun because ironically, I love the character and I love the radio station, but for me, it's fun to do the opposite. I don't know. So Tommy he's thinking, what do I do? What do I do? Do I go back to Leonida? He decides instead, when he stumbles upon this public access studio, a radio station set up, funded by a local grant that no one really understands, that basically says there's funding and a limited amount of money for, a couple of people to work there and to keep the lights on barely, as long as they're constantly broadcasting, which is the rule for public access if you're not familiar. Quick history lesson. For years in America, all around the country in local networks, they would have these public access studios or public access department of a local news station. And basically, it was a democratization of TV, and they had really low quality equipment, and it was a low quality broadcast, but anybody basically could fill out a form, pitch a show, and then go in and make birdhouses on TV at like 3:00 in the morning. This was the model for public access, which as we moved towards cable TV really kind of died down because people could watch MTV all night. They didn't want to watch someone make a birdhouse. So public access sort of died in the 90s and definitely into the early 2000s when these games became popular. But I've always loved the concept. And since I'm 36 and I kind of aged out of it, I never got to experience this idea. I've always wanted to create some sort of satirical public access channel. Thus, Vinewood Public Access. So Tommy finds this studio. He ends up working with this producer named Kevin, and the two of them make sure that VPA is always broadcasting something. At this point in its life cycle, Vinewood Public Access has taken on several other shows. So there's a show called The Bottom Line that airs in the morning, kind of as a drive time radio show that was sort of inspired by like a Ben Shapiro, pro-capitalism, right-wing kind of show that's hosted by my friend Brandon Harris, who is a very talented voice actor and great actor in general. Then there is The Getaway Chronicles, which airs in the middle of the night, like 1:00 in the morning. And that is a kind of a podcast style show inspired by Serial, produced by NPR in 2014, I think it was, and hosted by Sarah Koenig. Our version is hosted by Angela Steele, and she goes through heists that have been fumbled. So the Diamond Disaster and the Cayo Caper and different things like that, some of which are out now and some are yet to come. So stay tuned for that. That one is actually really fun for me to write and shoot with my friend Shayna, who does the voice of Angela Steele. So where's this going? What is the point of all of this? Why is it coming out now? I've wanted to make this project for years. It really wasn't until after Grand Theft Auto 5 came out that I thought about this idea. And originally it was going to be like an NPC podcast. So I was going to put it out as a podcast and tell everybody it's a podcast, but it would be a scripted fictional podcast hosted by Tommy. At the time, I didn't have a character for the host, but it would be interviewing all the little NPCs that you see in like GTA 5 and online. Like you go to your warehouse, right, with your cargo, and there's a guy there with a clipboard, and you can go up to that person and be like, hey, go fetch me a cargo crate or whatever. And you give him some money. It's a mechanic in the game. I thought it would be fun to interview that guy and be like, what's it like to work at this warehouse? And write a silly script about how sometimes he forgets about me for months. And I don't know. I'm just standing here with this clipboard. It's full. I don't know why we're not selling it. I don't know. They don't tell me anything. I thought that kind of idea was funny. So I started talking to friends who also knew Grand Theft Auto. And eventually this show is what emerged from that idea. I was just going to make a few calls and a few ads and throw something together that was like 15 minutes long. And then once I started writing and recording, the idea evolved into let's make a full game day, 48 minutes, right? To where it kind of could sync up with the game. Then it's, okay, how many days can we make? Can we make a 3-day thing where someone calls in on like day 1 and then there's a callback to that in day 3, 2 hours into the station? At this point, I really don't know what the end of the road is with this. I told myself I would make one full in-game day and then I could walk away from it if I wanted to at that point. So I've done that. A full in-game day is out now. It is broken up into the morning shift, the day shift, and the night shift. And you can watch them like in a line in a playlist. But there's also a live stream out where it loops for like 4 hours. So you can sync that up with your game. You can play it on YouTube in the background, especially if you have YouTube Premium, then you can close the window and all that. But the idea is for it to be listened to while you play the game. I'm not a PC gamer. I play on console. So I have not yet begun the process of like working with someone to mod it to where you could put it into the game on PC. Obviously, that would be really cool for me, as I've gone to the trouble to sync it up with the clock. So in theory, you would be able to throw it on and 3 days of it hopefully would at least like be in the game. And as you get in and out of cars, it would skip ahead in time if you missed it. Stuff like that, which I would really love to do at some point, but we'll see where it goes. Thank you so much for watching this whole video. If you did, feel free to subscribe to us. We're over on TikTok doing stuff also. There's pretty much daily content over there. We live stream gameplay sometimes with VPA synced up in the background for you to listen to. So thank you for watching this whole video and welcome to Vinewood Public Access. We appreciate you. Stay tuned.